Year 737. It was the moment of birth, the most important moment in the life of any living being. But in the case of Broly it was something even more critical. In the Toei animation version, the fact that he was born with 10,000 combat points caused King Vegeta to decide to kill him, and a few days later, Frieza under Beerus' orders, destroyed the planet Vegeta, escaping with his life in a very hasty way. In the Akira Toriyama version he was born with 10,000 combat points, that made King Vegeta banish him to a shit planet. Let's say that Akira Toriyama didn't want to make him so bad person, but in this version the planet Vegeta wouldn't be destroyed until after 3 years. Our Broly, to avoid either of the two situations, through the Zetsu and In, he decided to hide 99% of his total strength. His first idea was to hide 99%, leaving his combat strength around 1 to 10 points to ensure his survival, but he immediately rejected that option. Broly this time would be born with an extra eye on his forehead, so he would call attention anyway, but how would the Saiyans treat a deformed child with such a weak fighting force? The Spartans in cases like these killed the children for being a nuisance. He could not risk that either, but he could not show more combat power than Vegeta Jr., which was 1000. He didn't know how to calculate numerically, but he supposed that his power was several times higher than 10,000, so if he showed a power between 1 and 300 there wouldn't be too much trouble. Bwaj bwaj bwaj, Broly cried to avoid being slapped in the ass. It's a shame we could not save the mother, luckily the child was born without difficulty, said a doctor or nurse in the room. Broly slowly opened her eyes, and despite the bad news of her mother's death, which has never appeared in history, what he saw comforted him. The facilities in which he was born, despite having a futuristic environment, were not so much as in the Bardock movie. Also the doctors who treated him were Scions too, and not that strange alien's bird lizard. Interesting. If my intuition doesn't fail me, I have reincarnated in the Dragon Ball universe of Dragon Ball minus. Excellent, this was the best possible scenario. Nurse Scion held Broly, and while measuring his combat power, she saw something that made her lose her temper. Doctor, fast come and see this, said the nurse. What happens? His combat power is extraordinary, said the doctor as he approached Broly with curiosity. Oh shit, I should have lowered my combat power even more. His combat power is high, certainly. For 37, a new middle-class warrior, but that's not important. Look at his forehead, said the nurse. Luckily, it was my forehead. For a moment I thought it was combat power. If I have only shown 1% of my power, it means that my current combat power is 43,700. Not bad, despite I wanted to control myself, hahaha. He has a third eye. Leave this child under observation. I think we should warn King Vegeta as soon as possible about this abnormality. Where is his father? Said the doctor. We warned his father a few hours ago. He was halfway to planet Vegeta when he answered. He should arrive in a short time, replied the nurse. Well, I'll meet two of the characters that I hate the most about Dragon Ball, Vegeta Jr.'s father, Senior Vegeta Sr., and my father Paragus. Although Dragon Ball Super Broly made them better people. One is an envious idiot and the other simply saw his son as a tool. Both are rabble. While several doctors were still in the delivery room examining Broly, several people arrived. Those people were King Vegeta, Paragus, and several scions of stuffing. I regret your lost Paragus, but you have to look ahead. Your son is still alive, said King Vegeta. Thank you very much, Your Majesty, I will treasure your words. However, King Vegeta, why does someone as important as you have come to see my newborn son? Moreover, why are so many doctors examining him? Has something happened to him too? Paragus said, tilting his head. King Vegeta stroked his beard and replied, a few minutes ago I was alerted that a middle-class scion with 437 combat power was born, which is a joy for the entire scion race, but I was told that this little one had a peculiarity never before seen before. He said as he pointed to Broly's forehead. Paragus looked up and saw the eye on his forehead, an eye of a dark color, something lighter. Paragus, shocked by what he saw, approached a doctor and asked, Doctor, is this a bad thing? How is my son? The doctor looked at King Vegeta, seeking his approval to speak. King Vegeta nodded, indicating that he had permission to share the information he had found. He is fine, he doesn't seem to have any problem. We have done some tests on his third eye, and it seems to work perfectly. I would dare to say that he is even able to see better than normal eyes. As we have analyzed his DNA, it is 100% Scion. We assume that it must be some kind of mutation. For now, we don't know what that I means or if there may be complications due to it, so we advise you to stay him in the facilities to analyze it better. Paragus was about to answer, but King Vegeta took a step forward. Thank you, Dr. Onion, don't worry, Paragus, we will take good care of your son. Broly. Scions with the talent of your son are very few, so we will not skimp in expenses. You can come to visit whenever you want, obviously. Paragus, unable to refuse such offer and kindness on the part of his king, accepted the offer. Paragus watched his strange son for a while and marched home with emotional chaos. His wife was dead. The Scions normally only mate for pleasure and offspring, and although the marriages were monogamous, there was usually no love between them. Couples like Bardock and Jine were scarce in number, but Paragus was not like them, so that didn't affect him too much. His son was a middle-class warrior with a good fighting power, so he was proud of. However, the fact that his son had an eye on his forehead disconcerted, worried, and disgusted him. His son had talent, but he was a little monster, different from the rest. This contrast between pride and repudiation was unsettling. In addition, the fact that his son has received the attention of King Vegeta made him proud and concerned at the same time. Meanwhile, in the palace of King Vegeta, in the throne room. King Vegeta, as you ordered me, I communicated, and I will continue communicating all strange births, said Dr. Onion. The King Vegeta king, sitting on his throne, asked, tell me. Paragus's son is the legendary Super Saiyan? Dr. Onion replied, I don't think, Majesty. According to the legend of the legendary Super Saiyan is a being of infinite power. Broly, the son of Paragus, only has a fighting force of 437 units, far inferior to the fighting power of Prince Vegeta at his birth. The only thing that makes him different is that but there is nothing about extra eyes in the legend. I think it must be due to a type of mutation that we have not heard so far. King Vegeta said, approximately 1,000 years ago was the last legendary Super Saiyan appeared. The legend says that every 1,000 years, there is a Saiyan with infinite power capable of destroying everything in the universe, and it cannot be too long for another to appear. That is why it is necessary to locate him. It is a danger for all, which must be controlled, exiled, or eliminated. Dr. Onion, still kneeling, said, as you command, your Majesty, I will keep you informed of all mysterious births. What we do with the son of Paragus for now? King Vegeta replied, keep him in a separate incubator on the infirmary, carry out the tests you think necessary and check his evolution. As you say, with that combat power I doubt he is the legendary Super Saiyan of the legend, but we cannot be completely sure. Maybe that legendary being is not born with great power, but it is possible that it increases progressively. Tell Paragus that his son will need to be in the nursing incubator all year to check his development. In the event that he shows signs of being the legendary Super Saiyan, let me know my first, and I will decide what to do. If not, give him the choice to take him at home in the incubator for the next 2 years. Who knows, maybe that I will give us some pleasant surprise. I think so, Ray Vegeta. Of course I'm going to give pleasant surprises. Right now, for example. Damn hypocrite and liar. Ja. You worrying about the safety of the universe? You are only afraid that I will dethrone you and you midget son in the future. The Scions are a race in which power counts above all else, and the legendary Super Saiyan is the strongest. For me, you can put your shirty throne in your royal ass, it doesn't interest me at all. The palace of King Vegeta and the hospital were located miles away, and there were hundreds and hundreds of walls between that distance. However, none of that mattered to the Juggin. Hai was able to locate a little pearl in all the immensity of the infernal realm, and was able to locate her in the abduction of his sister in the human realm, regardless the location, perfectly seeing into houses, forests, and even caves with exact precision. In addition, this ability allows the sharpening of his other senses. Hai could hear a conversation between Yusuke and Yomi from miles away in the Ark of the Four Beasts. Ha ha ha, I'm like Sauron. I am able to hear and see practically everything and through everything. In fact, I'm getting dizzy with so much information. I have to learn to focus, or I'll end up crazy. Broly continued to listen to King Vegeta's conversation in case he was preparing an immediate rebellion against Frisia, or if the Frisia troops are making suspicious movements in the vicinity. However, he was not able to see anything suspicious. I'm definitely in the Dragon Ball minus version. Which is perfect, I still have 3 years to prepare. Normally the Scions stay 3 years in incubators of this type, where they are supplied with nutrients directly, to improve the development of the body to make them fit for combat quickly. Little by little I notice how my power is increasing. However, I don't plan to spend the whole 3 years in this incubator. I have other plans. If you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. See you later, bye bye.